everyone, welcome back to My Parenting Way. My name's Katie and today I'm going to give you my top tips on how to deal with sick children. So with the children go back to school and for me, Aidan started nursery because I've gone back to work, and also with the winter months coming up, all the bugs are flying around. So you're guaranteed that your children are going to be sick at some point in the near future. So hopefully these tips will help. So first of all, it's knowing what to feed your child when they have an upset stomach. And the stomach bug has done the rounds here recently. Every school and nursery has had it. And obviously you have to keep your child off school or nursery for at least 48 hours after their last symptoms to make sure it doesn't spread and get any worse. So it's really critical that you know what to feed your children when they are poorly with diarrhea or vomiting. You need to have very bland food and food that is going to stay in their stomachs and sit there without jumping up or making them have diarrhea even worse. So try and avoid especially sugary things or spicy things or citrusy things because that can irritate the stomach. So there are 4 great foods to give your child if they do have diarrhea. And if you remember the word brat, B-R-A-T, this can give you an idea of what to feed your children if they have been suffering from diarrhea. So B is for bananas, R is for rice, A is for applesauce, and T is for toast. So a few little snacks I recommend that combine these foods are rice cakes, or apple slices, or mashed banana on toast. Thankfully, my children like all of these things, so I could just give them to them without any problems. So it's just a really good way of remembering what to give them. If your child has a fever, it's really important that you monitor that fever because just in case it creeps higher and higher and higher, and then you need to contact your doctor or 111 if you live in the UK. So the best way of doing it, I have found, is to get a non-contact infrared thermometer. We use this one, and I'm not even sure where it's from, to be honest. I got this one from Amazon. It's dead cheap. It is a little bit unpredictable. It says body, surface or animal. I'm not really quite sure what that means, but obviously we've got it on body. And you put this up to their forehead and then click the button. It looks like a little gun, which is a bit terrifying. So any temperature that is above 37.7 is classed as a raised temperature or a fever. So you need to monitor this really carefully. And these are pretty good at checking your child's temperature without it being too traumatic. So nothing like shoving something in their mouth or shoving something in their ear. You don't even have to touch them. They think it's quite fun because obviously it looks like a little gun and it flashes and there's a little button and it makes noise and light, so they find it quite fun. And also you can turn the sound off, and it's something that you can do once they're sleeping in bed at night, and you don't need to touch them, you don't need to disturb them, and that's really important if you're monitoring them throughout the night and making sure their fever doesn't get any worse. So the little medicine syringes that you get in things like paracetamol and ibuprofen for children, these are fantastic ways of giving your child fluids when they don't particularly feel like drinking. So I use this in water, and I literally sap it up with the water, and I will give my child that in small doses. And it's a lot easier for them to acknowledge the fact that you're squirting this amount of water in, and they think it's a bit of a game. My children absolutely love Calpol, so the fact that you're getting the Calpol syringe out, even if it is just water, they absolutely love it. And the other good thing is that you actually can monitor how much fluid they have. So if they do deteriorate and their doctor does want to know how much they've drank, you're able to say actually they've drank this amount of millilitres because it's all done in millilitres. So that's a really good way of monitoring their fluid intake. If you do have to give them Calpol or any kind of ibuprofen or paracetamol product, it's a really good idea, which I've discovered recently, of keeping one on every floor of your house, or you know, anywhere that's really easy to get access to. So either keep them obviously up out of the way in the baby or child's own room, obviously make sure they can't reach it, or keep them in your bathroom cupboard up high, so again they can't reach it, but also keep one downstairs in the kitchen and potentially one in your nappy bag, because that way you know you've got one in every scenario in the house, and it means you don't have to trek downstairs and struggle to find it and struggle to find a syringe. The other thing is to keep spare syringes again on every level, because if you're anything like me, you can take the syringe out and wash it and then either leave it in the kitchen or you've put it down somewhere and forgotten about it. So keep the old syringes and dot them around the house so you've got some spare if you need them. The other little thing I'd just like to say about Calpol or any kind of ibuprofen or paracetamol is that teach yourself how to open them first, because actually they can be really difficult to open if you're a little bit sort of overwhelmed with stress about giving it to your child in the first place. Being able to open it really quickly and get into the hang of opening them quickly is a really good tip. So when you do need it, it's open, it's in your child before you've even said boo. For things like the common cold, the baby or child can get really snuffly and congested, so I find the best thing to do is to allow steam to unclog all that kind of gunk in their sinuses and their nose. Obviously, if you've got a dehumidifier at home, these can be fantastic for colds, but we personally don't have one. So the thing that I do instead is to get an old muslin, one right here, and then put a few drops of Snuffle Babe, which is like an Albus oily type smell, or Albus oil. And what I do is I shove it under the water of the tap, make sure it's really, really saturated, and then I put it on a warm radiator. Obviously, this is better for wintertime when your radiators are on quite a lot, but even if it's in summertime and the sun's coming through and it's hitting the radiator, it can create like a steam. Or you boil a kettle, put some hot water in a bowl, and then put this over the top with some drops of Albus oil over the top, and it creates like a steaming effect with the Albus oil in the air, which can act as a decongestant. The other way of also being really good at decongesting before baby goes to bed is to give your baby its usual milk, either a breastfeed or a bottle feed, in your bathroom whilst the shower is running and the steam is up in the air, because that way what they do is it unclogs all their sinuses and nose with the steam, and they're feeding, so they're gulping, so quite often it gets unclogged and they either swallow it down, and that's a really good way of decongesting before they go to sleep. Or like us, if you incorporate a bath in your bedtime routine, so if you have a bath every night before putting the child to bed, use the shower to actually fill up your bath, so you're not wasting water and you're creating a steam effect. And if your kids are anything like mine, they actually love the shower being on. They find it's almost like a game where they use it to fill up cups, and they just splash around with it and they put their heads in, and they find it hilarious, and it's a really good way of distracting them before bedtime and getting the steam to help decongest their noses. Going back to muslins, if you're a bit environmentally conscious like we are, we're very wary of the fact of using loads of like tissues, and tissue boxes can be quite wasteful. So what we do is we take an old muslin and cut it up into squares, and we use these as hankies, and we actually find this a lot better at removing snot from their noses, and it's less abrasive because they're nice and soft. So things like tissues can end up cracking and irritating the nose, but if you use muslin, it seems to be a lot friendlier and is obviously environmentally friendly as well. So after you've rubbed the noses from all the snot that's going to come out, obviously the nose can get a bit irritated whether you're using tissues or muslins or whatever. So the best way I've found of protecting the skin around the nose is actually by using old nipple cream, such as a lanolin based cream. Now this is really soothing for the skin around, the delicate skin around their noses, and obviously it's completely safe because it's nipple cream. So if you've got an old tube of that handy, definitely use that. And finally, if all else fails, if your child and you, obviously as the parent, is up for it, try and get your child out of the house, even if it's for a quick, I don't know, whiz around your local area and back home again, or just take them outside into a garden, or just bring them up to an open window or an open door. Sometimes just the fresh air and the good old vitamin D can help boost the immune system, and also it's a great distraction for the baby and child. So sometimes just by bringing them outside can make them feel loads better, and when they feel better, you feel better. So there you go, my very quick video. I hope you found this useful. I'd love to hear your comments on how you deal with sick children, so please leave them below. Obviously hit the like button if you found this useful, and hit the subscribe button so you get all the updates on me and my family, and we hope to see you next time.